Schoology assessments is a great way for you to do some SEL check-ins or goal setting with your students. It also helps for students to identify and manage one's emotions and behavior by being able to give their response to some prompts that you might create. So here I want to give you an example of a Schoology assessment I created for SEL. And I created it, as you saw, within my resources. So let me go back to that. The reason I create this within my resources is because then that makes this assessment really easy for me to grab and then copy to a course. Like I can add it to a course here. It also allows for me to move it to different collections so that I can share it with my colleagues. It also allows for me to go in and to edit it. So building it within my resources is almost like building it within your drive so that you can put it in different places to use it time and time again. But let's take a look at this assessment that I created. So when developing this assessment, I used a bunch of different item or question types. And the reason for that is so that students could interact with the prompt that I was giving them. So when you develop this check-in, and let's say it's a check-in just to see like emotional well-being, where are we at, right, this week? Or maybe it's an every other week practice. You might want to take on a scale of 1 to 9. Where are you at, right? How are you feeling? So in question 2, on a scale of Shakespeare, how do you feel today? You also can have this be pushed out as a way to kind of get an idea of where students are at in their understanding. On a scale of 1 to 9, how are you progressing in your understanding of the law of relativity? So let's take a look at that. For question 1, I selected the item or question type of highlight hotspot. And for this, I am asking for students to kind of gauge where they're at in their understanding. And it's a fun way of doing this. So it's kind of twofold, right? You're kind of building that interest, that engagement piece, that piece of community where maybe you guys talked about llamas for a week, and now you're pushing out a meme with different expressions that llamas are giving. And you're also asking them to kind of do a progress monitor of where they're at in their understanding. So in order to create something like this, you go ahead and you upload an image. And this is just something I found on a Google image search. Next, what you do is you go ahead and you have to draw. So I drew a hotspot for each of these boxes. And then with that, I said, okay, the correct answer is that there are multiple responses. And so I clicked on all of the boxes because no matter what expression the llama is giving, everything is correct because the student is giving an idea of where they're at. Another thing to note as you create this hotspot question is that you can change the size of your image that you're bringing in. And that's as easy as just typing it in here. Let's preview the question. So here on a scale of 1 to 9, how are you progressing in your understanding of the law of relativity? So here I could indicate I'm at 5, right? And then I could go ahead and submit. So your assessment could be a 1-question assessment, right? Or you could have a couple of questions built in. So let's say that we are doing a highlight image. So that was a highlight hotspot, right? I created a hotspot for students to click on. This next question type is a highlight image. So it's kind of the same idea, right? On a scale of Shakespeare, how do you feel today? So let's go ahead and preview it. And when students take a look at this, they are then going to circle where they're at and then submit. So this is a highlight image. It allows for students to be able to draw on the image that you've uploaded. And in this case, they are measuring where they're at in a scale of 1 to 9. Let's look at a setup. You can upload the image. So you're going to upload it from your computer where you've downloaded that image. You can change the width, the height, so that it can be larger or smaller depending on what you need. And then it does show you that the colors that are available for students to highlight are these. And it allows for you to give a prompt up at the top. So this is highlight image. The next one is multiple choice. So again, checking in on a scale of turkey, how are you feeling about your essay development? And we have a bunch of different options here for students to choose from. So when I built this, I was able to type in this prompt right here. And then for my options, that's where I'm able to upload an image. So I just added an additional option here so I could show you what that looks like. I am going to my image icon, I'm clicking to add an image, and now I'm going to pull in from my pictures folder an image that I want to upload. I can change the size, hit OK, and now I have that image as my option. When I'm going to correct answer setup, right, I'm saying the correct answer, multiple answers, and it's going to be all of them. Why? Because no matter what the student is choosing, that is a true reflection of where they're at in their process. This next item, our question type is fill in the blank, drag and drop. On a scale of ELF, how do you feel? And then we create our blank. And this blank can then be filled by our ELFs. So let's take a look. Here, I'm going to say on a scale of ELF, how do you feel? I drag and drop as the student, and this is how I indicate where I'm at. But let's look at how we set this up. So in this box, I am able to type in on a scale of, okay, and once I do that, the way I get this blank box is that you type in shift and then you do the underscore, and that's how that blank is created. So when we add our possible responses, we go to option, and same as I did before, I go to my image, and I'm going to upload an image, right? I pull in the ELF, hit open, I change the size, hit OK, and there's my ELF option. Again, what I need to do is I need to create alternate options as the response that is correct. So I've got the correct response, my alternate, I pull in this option, right? So for alternate, I'm going to say, okay, this is one of my alternate options. So I want to make sure I indicate all of them, and then I click save, and that's what we get for our fill in the blank, drag and drop. As we're working on progress monitoring or goal setting, something you can do is also use the fill in the blank, drag and drop for students to indicate, as I work to grow my writing ability, I plan to focus on blank in my upcoming essay. So this was built in the same way as the ELF question, but in this time, we have different responses that the student can then drag and drop. So this might be something where you could include like a check-in of on a scale of 1 to Shakespeare, right? On a scale of Shakespeare, how are you feeling today? And then as I work on growing my writing ability, here's a place where you're asking them to do some goal setting. And then also looking at this idea of goal setting, you could use matching, right? This one gets a little bit trickier, but what you do with this is that you have positive goal setting. You can list a couple prompts, and perhaps this is reflective of a conversation you had with students in class. Like, these are the options of things that I can do, and then students will have to match that up, right? So one of my things is that I want to improve my attention in class, and so the student could match that with, I will try my best. Turning in my assignments on time, this is my priority. And they can indicate that. You could repeat this question over and over, and each week their goal could be the same or it could be different. But again, this is a way for you to allow for them to have that personalization of, this is what my focus is, this is where I'm going to try my best, and this is my priority. And then as we set it up down below, please remember you do have to give your alternate responses. And when we take a look at previewing this, right? So my attention in class, this is my priority for this week. Turning in the assignments on time, I'm going to try my best, and students will create it in that way. Okay, so just a couple of quick ideas of how you can use Schoology assessments for those quick check-ins for like how are we doing this week, and then also for goal setting.